Welcome to my channel, Ken here. Today let's take a look at the Audioscape 260 VU compressor. Let's go! Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment about this unit. If you ever slammed a drum bus through a classic DBX 160, this unit is going to feel like home. This is the Audioscape 260 VU Deluxe, a discrete VCA compressor and limiter, hand-built in the USA with all the punch, snap, and grit that made the original a legend. This is not a subtle box. It adds attitude and color. Let's start with the controls. Each channel gives you 3 knobs. Threshold sets where compression kicks in, and it's continuously variable all the way from about -38 to about +12. Ratio goes from 1:1 to 120:1. So basically infinity. So this same unit is a gentle glue compressor or a hard limiter. An output gain makes up the level, up to about 20 dBs. It reacts fast too, attacks down to around 3 to 15 milliseconds depending on how hard you hit it, and a quick release. This backlit VU meter switches between input, output, and gain reduction, so you can always see what it's doing. What makes this Deluxe that is a special order? First, a blend knob. That's parallel compression built right in, so you can blend right on the unit. No extra bus needed. Second, a 6-position sidechain high-pass filter, so your low end stops triggering the whole compressor. Thirdly, switchable iron output transformer, real US-made iron you can bring in for extra weight and color, plus true bypass for an honest before and after. Plus, this is a stereo unit, so the original 160s were mono. Here's an example of a dual mode where I'm running a stereo bus through it. There is no stereo link on this thing, so when you have to match the channels. But here it is on the stereo bus on the drums, bypassed. I will switch it over to some acoustic guitars here. In this instance, I think the Audioscape DA3A is a better choice because that thing just sounds magical in acoustic guitars. Anyway, let's stick them on some synths. You can hear on this blend knob that it's additive, that it's adding gain as you're adding the here, because it's probably not set at equal volume. So here to me is because it's not a percussive synth, I don't think it's the right choice for that. So my opinion is using percussion and drums, and that's where it shines. Here's an example where I use the left channel for snare and the right channel for kick drum. Right now I've set it up to being in double mono mode. So here's the half right here. And I basically set it up so the left side here is the snare and the right side is the kick drum. So mono snare, mono kick drum. Here's what it sounds like. Couple of things I want to just point out. This is the deluxe version of it, meaning that it has blend knobs here. It has bypass mode right here. And basically, if you look at it here, you have the ratio, and you have the input, and you have the output right here. And here you have a sidechain filter. So the sidechain filter basically goes from off 80, 120, 180, 200, and 280. So I have a little bit of high pass on it, on each one of them. So I'll show you what this sounds like. Here's the full drum kit. And here, of course, you have the meters, so you can standard stuff, gain reduction, input and output. Over here you have iron, it's called. Basically what it is you engaged a transformer and you're going to get some color from the transformer as well as some saturation. Excellent stuff right there. Definitely useful. Tend to leave that on because I really like the way it just gives it that upper harmonics distortion and extra little bit of top end and some character. That's nice. So on the snare here, lots of character, lots of color. We love it. On the kick here. So this is basically the threshold, right? And the ratio here. So to me, when I hear the way it grabs the signal on the attack, obviously there's no attack and release on it. I wish there was a release on it. Sometimes it feels a little long. I think the way it grabs the signal, which is a few milliseconds after the actual attack, is very, very flattering and very punchy sounding. And when you add this iron on top of it, there's something about this, the way it attacks and the way it adds those upper harmonics, that's pretty cool. I also think the amplifier kind of tends to color a little bit, but in a really good way, in the best way possible. So yeah, a lot of color, a lot of character, a lot of fun. I like this thing on snare and kick. Even though Audioscape sent this unit to me, the thoughts and opinions are mine and mine alone. So these Audioscape units are basically faithful recreations of these classic, almost impossible to obtain units. This Audioscape 260 VU is based on the DBX 160. It's a stereo unit, which the originals weren't. I like to use it in dual mono, and I use one channel for the snare and one channel for the kick drum. This unit definitely feels better on percussive instruments for sure. I used it a lot on drums, and I think it sounds great. Talk about having vibe and grit. This is great on rock and roll and metal, man. So yeah, I used it a lot on that. And of course, I tried using it as a stereo unit on a variety of sources. It worked well on them. I do think that the Audioscape DA3A works better on acoustic guitar, where it's so magical. This one is magical on drums because it's an analog unit. You got to play a little bit with the input level and how hard you push it. So in that way, it takes a little bit of learning to get to use this unit, and having that blend knob on there just brings it right into the 21st century, because it's so useful, because you can really slam this thing and it sounds awesome. Now, of course, comparing it to modern units, it's a little bit difficult to dial in, because you don't have a release and attack knob. So the attack is very dependent on how hard you push it, but then it starts saturating. So you really ought to find that balance between the two. As far as the release, I think sometimes I feel like the release is a little bit long for certain things, and other times it feels a little bit short. You really ought to just come to the realization that this is the way it is, and you're going to have to basically work around it. That blend knob comes in really handy in this instance. Of course, when it holds on to a snare a little bit long, and it brings up the reverbs and stuff like that. But these are classic units, and that's the way it is. And sometimes that's a really good thing, when you don't have to overthink things and you go, oh yeah, here's the color, and with that iron transformer in there, it really brings out like overtones and gives some girth and body, which helps a lot in the digital world, I can tell you that. So yeah, I'm enjoying this unit. I think it's going to live on my snare and kick drum from here on out, probably. I'm very, very happy with this one. So do I recommend this? Yes, but it's still $1,500, so you got to decide if that's worth it. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, take care.